Welcome to Rams Revealed. I'm your host, JB Long, and perhaps you've noticed it's been nearly a month since our last episode, and wow, has our society been jolted since then. We are excited to be back, and we think today's guest is really the perfect Ram to bring us back, but we're also sensitive to the realities behind our hiatus, many of which we will get into in this episode. Time permitting, we're going to talk some football as well, but understandably, the 2020 season takes a backseat to gaining some valuable perspective from a third-year defensive tackle who recently penned an op-ed on behalf of the Players Coalition entitled "Racial Justice Begins with Our Schools." The Players Coalition is a charity and advocacy organization working with professional athletes, coaches, and owners across leagues to improve social justice and racial equality in our country. Sebastian Joseph-Day is our guest, and we welcome him back to Rams Revealed. Bash, how are you?
Good, JB. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, too. We've missed you. And, hey, obviously the driving force behind your writing is the murder of George Floyd, as well as far too many other victims of police brutality and racism. And it seems like the question you've been wrangling with is a familiar one. What is the solution to systemic oppression that has all these tragic consequences? And as you point out in your writing, multiple solutions are going to be required. But what's the one you chose to focus on and why?
I chose to focus on education, obviously, because even though I felt as if this, even though you are free technically, you aren't really free. And the reason why I said this is because obviously, slavery and everything happened 400 years ago, but it's still been ways for people to kind of oppress certain individuals, if that makes sense, due to redlining and things like that. And education has been such a big thing for me, a huge thing in my life, because my parents are very big on education, that the more research I've done and when it comes to finding solutions, I realized that a fair education is something that's lacking a lot. That's lacking a lot in this country, especially when it comes to low-income Black and Brown communities. So that is one of the reasons why I focused on that part, because how education helped me so much to get as far as I have, and how prominent it was in my life. And just being able to just bridge that gap is just a big focal point. I think that's going to help us in general, bridge that gap between systemic racism and all the issues that's going on right now with police brutality and all the things that have just been going on these past couple of days.
So I was wondering how this became an issue close to your heart, and you touched on it a bit there. Perhaps we can follow that thread, your academic path. You're a product of 5 years of university education at Rutgers, but what came before that?
I did I got my undergrad in 4 years, and I pursued some of my master's, my fifth, and then before that I was just, my parents were heavy on education. It was so funny. It was between Maryland and Rutgers growing up, because they were both great academic schools. And it truly came down to my parents. What really came down to was, I think Rutgers was always like top 10 in the AP or something. It was something that had to do with schooling. And my parents are Haitian, so they don't play any games. So just growing up, it's always been about school. And obviously, when God blessed me with the gifts to be able to get a scholarship and go to school for free for it, it was just a plus. It's never been growing up with my parents, it's never been about football. It's always been more so about my education and more so about my brain. And at the end of the day, people could take football away from you, but they could never take what you learn and your knowledge that you gain. So that's just kind of the mindset I've been brought up with. And that's why it really touched home. It really touched home with me. That's why it really touched home with me. And I forgot to say the last question. I'm sorry, but so all those issues also lead to a lack of representation in places of importance in this country. So that's why that was another reason why this topic also motivated me as a solution to talk about. So
yeah, your column was very rich in detail and socioeconomic data. And federal legislation was discussed. Clearly, it was a product of much research.
Mhm.
Is this something you've always kept close tabs on when you're not studying your playbook, or have you poured into it more recently during quarantine to kind of inform these opinions?
It's definitely something that I've always had an interest in, but now more so because it just obviously that George Floyd thing really just took it to the George Floyd horrific incident really took it to the next level for me. But it's always something I always kind of kept tabs on. I always peeked and looked at, and always always kept tabs on. But the whole horrific incident with George Floyd really just took it to the next level, and even the Breonna Taylor thing, like how the cops still haven't been, arrested, or what I mean? It's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. So I'm just really starting to just dive into it like head first, because it's real sad, man. It's real sad, and I feel like I just feel like I've been blessed with a platform. I've been blessed with an opportunity. So why not just use it for the betterment of other people?
I have two young boys, and the oldest is just entering pre-elementary education. So I'm kind of being exposed to some of the dynamics you're discussing too, and seeing like the vast disparities that are being amplified by the pandemic, right? Kids who
Mm-hmm.
have the resources of
Yeah.
connectivity in their house, a
Yeah.
parent or two parents who can help keep them on the right path
Mm-hmm.
academically. How concerned are you about the months of remote learning that have already gone by and the ones that are almost certainly still to come, assuming not all children are going to have equal access to in-person learning this fall?
Yes, no, and that's another worry that I cover also in my op-ed. COVID has also exposed the disparity as well due to the whole pandemic, and it worries me a lot because a lot of these kids can't. There's a lot of kids that can't afford to be doing can't to do online schooling. They can't afford to get laptops or have computers, and they're just falling behind. So I felt as if not only the whole tragedy of George Floyd has also exposed these issues, but also COVID has really exposed these issues as well. And that's another reason why I wrote my op-ed to just to urge the Senate just to pass these provisions for the HEROES Act, so these low-income Black and Brown communities can have a chance just to close the gap, even if it's just a little bit.
To my reading, that was probably the primary action item in your writing, urging the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. Senate to pass the HEROES Act. Your op-ed was published June 12th. Unfortunately, it's still going to be weeks before the Senate convenes at the end of their 4th of July recess to potentially take that up. I just want to step aside and kind of give the floor back to you so that you can state your case here as you did in your writing. If someone does not have the time to find that and digest it themselves, what case would you make on behalf of their politicians to get to where you want to go?
At the end of the day, I feel as if it does not matter who you are, what race you are. You're, if you're very privileged or not, everyone deserves a fair shot in the education. And at the end of the day, I feel as if everyone has a fair shot at education, it will ultimately lead to more representation in places of importance in this country, which will lead to more minds discussing about issues that we are facing in this country, which will ultimately even lead to a betterment of understanding of each other and other people, if that makes sense. That's what I'd have to say.
Here's a brief aside for the benefit of our audience too. CBAS and the Players Coalition have put their time and their treasure where their mouths are. To cite just one example, earlier this year, Sebastian visited 96th Street STEAM Academy to announce 4 $22,000 contributions to LA area elementary schools, in keeping with the coalition's stated objective of bridging the technology and resource gap in low-income areas. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone listening was aware of some of the steps you've taken with your own time and with your own dollars. Let's pivot ever so slightly to the Rams, because I think our audience would also love to know how an African-American player feels about how the organization you work for has handled the past few challenging weeks. What's it been like to be a Black professional athlete in this moment?
No, definitely. I feel as if the Rams have handled it very well. Huge shout out to Coach McVay and less for what they've done. The open dialogue that we've had, the discussions we've had, just having that empathy towards our team, and just letting us vent and talk to each other about how we feel and things like that. So it's a blessing to be part of the organization. It's a blessing that even see the commissioner be able to go out and put out a public statement like he did. Everyone's understanding. At the end of the day, it's all about understanding. It's all about empathy. It's all about knowledge. Learning. You can't have empathy towards someone you don't understand, right? So I just continue to just teach each other, and teach each other and just hold each other accountable in a respectful manner. And I feel like if we continue to do that, that this change will continue to come, and for the positive. And so, it's a blessing to be able to be part of this organization.
You referenced your parents earlier in our conversation. As I understand it, your mother has been a nurse. Your father works in New York City. You obviously attended Rutgers. So the coronavirus hits close to home for you geographically.
Mm-hmm.
And so much so that you put $10,000 of your own dollars towards meals for Cedars-Sinai Medical Center personnel and their families back in April.
Mm-hmm.
Now I wonder, how do you feel about the prospects of returning to the facility during COVID-19 and participating in a training camp literally a month from now?
Believe it or not, I'm just excited, man. I'm just excited. I'm excited to play some football.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, obviously, we have a great staff, a great health and training staff, and I know they're going to take all the precautions and make sure that we follow all the protocols and do all the right things in order for us to be able to play football the right way, if that makes sense. Do everything the right way. So I'm not honestly worried about that. It definitely hit home. It definitely hit home because my mom's a nurse, and I saw those videos of nurses struggling. And my dad did work in New York City, so I was always worried about him always going to the city. But I just keep on praying, man. I just keep my faith, and I know that God has a plan. I know God's watching over me and watching over us, and I know He's going to get us through it. And I want to make sure I do my part as well to keep the hand sanitizer on me on deck at all times, and wear my mask. And that's how we're going to keep it pushing, baby.
Well, just to see your big smile is really encouraging and hopeful for someone like me who enjoys really covering you and your teammates. But it sounds like it's not a difficult decision at all for you to play, but I'm cognizant of the big news here in LA that Lakers guard Avery Bradley is opting out of the NBA's restart due to some family concerns.
Yeah.
And that made me wonder, would you be surprised if a member of your team or another player across the NFL did the same, just like, hey, this is not the right thing for me in this moment in time?
To be honest, no, I wouldn't be surprised because, listen, I'm 25 years old, right? 25 years old. I don't have any kids. I have a fiance and I have a dog, So it makes sense. It makes sense for a guy like me. I'm a young guy. I'm early in my career. I'm going into my third year. But for guys that, they have wives that are pregnant, or they have kids, they have families, whole families, with a bunch of kids that can get affected. I truly understand, I completely understand why and the reasons why they would opt out. But at the end of the day, listen, I'm not here to judge. Everyone has to do what's best for them, and I completely understand if you don't want to risk it, because obviously you have a bunch of other people you have to worry about. But with me, I just love this game so much. I love the game so much, and I don't care if I'm playing with 0 fans in the stands or 100 fans in the stands. I love this game. I put my passion, I put my love into it each and every day, and I couldn't imagine not playing, So that's just me.
Bash, when you do return to Thousand Oaks, you're going to be together with what I think has been shaped this offseason as the deepest and most talented defensive line in the National Football League. And look, I'm sure you're stoked to have Brock back. I'm sure A'Shawn will be a great teammate.
Yeah.
But I was kind of thinking from your standpoint, 2020 was going to be your time to spread your wings. And all of a sudden it's like a deep 6-7 man rotation again.
Yeah, no, for sure. As soon as you bring that up, yeah, it's interesting for sure. But at the end of the day, we're only as good as our last guy, right? So all that really does is just amps up everyone's game, and I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited because all that's gonna do is all that's done for me really just made me more hungry this offseason, made me work harder, and I'm just excited to have Ashawn because I know we're going to be such a good D line, And if I ever get tired, or if he ever gets tired, we could just be rotating and whatever. And that's how it is. Brock gets tired of going for Brock. We just do it all. So I'm gonna be a Renaissance man. I'm gonna be able to do it all this year. So I'm excited. I'm really excited, and I'm just hungry, man. I'm very ready, and I'm just ready to still spread my wings.
Yeah, ever since you posted some of those workout photos, I feel like Aaron Donald must have got a little bit intimidated or something. He's kind of amped up his game too. He's been oversharing.
Yeah. 80, yeah, 80's out here. 80's out here. I see him. I be seeing him. We be working out. He's back in LA or back out of here. So I've seen him the past couple of days.
But specifically, where do you think you fit in on that front? What role do you expect to play in Brandon Staley's defense?
To be honest, that's up to Coach Staley, man. That's up to Coach Staley. But I believe in myself. I believe that I could do anything. I believe that I could play any role, honestly. I feel like I'm versatile enough to play any role. I'm able to play the 4. I'm able to play the 3. I'm able to play nose. It's wherever he wants to use me and utilize me. And, I'm not the coach, so I don't know. I do believe in myself. I do believe that I'm a starting talent. I do believe that. But, it doesn't really matter what I believe, so I'm just here to do my job. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, whatever it may be this year.
Good answer. How would you compare his system, like your early impressions, to that of Wade Phillips, with whom you spent your first couple NFL seasons?
Yes, yeah, it is. It is very similar, and but different at the same time. So it's pretty dope, man. I really enjoy it. I love it, honestly. I love it a lot. I feel like I'm going to really thrive in this defense. I'm just really excited, man. Like I get all giddy, all smiley, just thinking about it. And I'm like, dang, like the plays that we're learning and stuff. I'm just like, wow, like this fits me so well, like the stuff that we're doing this year. So I'm just so excited. Like I'm just really amped up, man. And Coach Staley's awesome. I love his energy. Great coach, and I'm just ready, man. I'm just ready to ride. This season can't come fast enough. I'm ready to prove shock a lot of people this year.
Ready to ride, literally and figuratively. Our podcast audience can't see that you're at the wheel, ready to leave your home and go put that work in today. So last thing for me, and then we'll let you get to it. Bash, I know April must feel like, I don't know, a decade ago, but you had a really significant life event that I don't want to just breeze past. You mentioned it. You have a fiance now. Congratulations. Tell us how it all went down.
Oh, so how it all went down. All right. I got to make sure I get this right so I don't get in trouble with the fiance. So what happened was I had this whole elaborate plan, JB. This whole beautiful plan, had the parents coming in, gonna surprise her, had this beautiful helicopter ride, sunset over Malibu, and obviously Corona happened. So last minute, I was able to get on this private beach in Malibu, right? And I had some photographers come, and we were gonna stay at this little private house in Malibu with a private beach. So she had no idea what was going on. I told her to pack her bags. Let's go. So we went out there, and obviously, we were walking on the beach and whatnot. And I told her to get dressed up. So why are you getting dressed up? I was like, because we're going to take some pictures for your birthday, since some other plans got ruined due to the COVID. So she had no idea. So she got all dolled up. It was nice. And we're walking on the beach and whatnot, and then the photographers came and we took some pictures. So she has no idea. She's still blind to the fact. She just thinks we're staying in Malibu in this nice little house with a private beach. So we're chilling, doing that, taking photos, and we go back to back, and I pull the ring out my pocket, and while we're back to back, she's still taking the photos, and I go down on one knee. So when she turns around, she sees me on one knee, and she's like, and obviously she's like, what the hell's going on? Like, she's like freaking out, and I was like, I tell her how I feel. I can't tell that. That's intimacy. It's private. I can't do all that. But I said how I feel. All that good stuff. And then I asked her if she married me, and obviously she was just in complete shock. And it was a great day. It was an amazing day, and COVID couldn't stop it. COVID couldn't stop the love. You know what I'm saying? So it was a great day, and so I'm just happy to be with the love of my life for the rest of my life. So I'm just excited to get that rolling as well.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm sorry it didn't go according to your grand plan, but if I can share a word of wisdom, nothing in marriage does. You got to be able to adjust on the fly, and that sounds like exactly what you did, and so much the better. So have you set a date? How's wedding planning going?
Wedding planning is going good. So we have not set a date. We're shooting for 2 years from now, but we haven't set we just honestly want to see after this year if things are going to go back to normal, and a patient waiting game, because we want to make sure we have all of our family there well, because we have big families, a lot of friends. So but we are saying, we've gotten the list down. We're looking at venues already. We're looking at venues and stuff like that. So we're excited, man. We're really excited.
Your fiance's name is Rachel. Do I have that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Has Rachel given you a limit on how many Rams teammates you're allowed to invite?
No, she gave a limit on groomsmen, though. She gave me a limit on groomsmen, not on teammates. It's hilarious, though. It's hilarious. It's like, okay, you gotta start with all these groups. I don't got that many friends. I don't got that many good friends.
All right, well, Sebastian, we'll let you get on with your morning. And to our audience, we do encourage you to read Seabass's column in its entirety. Just a reminder, it's available at medium.com, or search Sebastian Joseph-Day and any of the keywords we discussed here today. Have a great workout. Cannot wait to see you back at the facility, Bash. Thank you for your time.
JB, can't wait to see you too, my man. Appreciate you. Please tell the family. Have a great day, and God bless. Thank you for having me.
And before you move on, we sincerely appreciate the ratings and the reviews. If you have not done so already, we'd love it if you took a moment now to let us know that you're listening. For Sebastian Joseph-Day, Matt Israel, Jory Hirsch, I'm JB Long, and this is Rams Review.